Here's some of the signs of identity theft. You start spotting errors on your credit card or bank statements, right? I'm sure that the folks over at Lakeland Bank have dealt with this a time or two. You start spotting errors on your credit report. So everyone in this room has the legal right to get a free copy of your credit report one time a year. I use freecreditreport.com. It's a pretty good website, and you can pull it down. You can see any anomalies or anything going on. I happen to get my credit report 4 times a year just because I'm really paranoid about this stuff. Debt collectors start calling you about a debt that you don't remember ever incurring, right? A jet ski was bought in Florida, and you owe payments on it, but you don't have a jet ski, and you don't live in Florida. So there's an arrest warrant out for you. And oftentimes when your identity's been stolen, they'll apply for jobs using your social security number. They'll use your name. My dad owned a trucking company in Passaic. For 5 years, my dad had a guy named Eddie driving for him until one day, and I'm not using last names, until one day a guy named Eddie from Florida called my dad and said, "You got this guy named Eddie, he stole my identity. He's not Eddie." And Eddie disappeared. And Eddie actually had been arrested 2 or 3 times in Passaic County, all under this person's name. So you could be out there with a warrant for your arrest, but you didn't do anything. It's somebody else using your name. You stop receiving emails. You stop receiving mail in general. So all of a sudden, you don't get bank account statements in your mail. You don't get credit card statements. You don't get social security statements. They're just gone, right? That's because the scammers have gone in, stolen your identity, and redirected your email to a different address so that you don't know your identity's been stolen. Or the opposite, you start getting emails, you start getting loan payment vouchers from Lakeland Bank, you start getting credit card statements from Visa or MasterCard. You start seeing irregularities on your social security account statements. And it could be that the distribution's changed, or it could be that you see that a request for changing your physical mailing address. These are all signs of identity theft. So what do you do if your identity is stolen, if any of these things happen? Well, number one, you lock down your accounts. So if you realize your identity's been stolen, you call our friends at Lakeland Bank, if that's where you bank, and you tell them, "I want to lock down my accounts. I don't want anyone to have access to it unless there's direct authorization from me." The next thing you do is you buy some type of credit monitoring service. I use LifeLock. They're very good. And what credit monitoring does is they watch all of your bank accounts, all of your credit card accounts, and they even watch for your social security and driver's license number. So if somebody goes to apply for a loan in your name and you're being watched out for by LifeLock or a similar company, they're going to notify you. They're going to call you and say, "Were you aware somebody's trying to take out a mortgage?" Yes, that's right, a mortgage. People have had their homes stolen away from them because people have come in, stolen your identity, and then mortgaged your house. So they'll call you and let you know this is going on so that you can put a stop to it. Review your credit report on a regular basis. And I already said once a year you're entitled to a free credit report. And if you had your identity stolen, the Federal Trade Commission is the federal entity that you're going to deal with. And you're going to call them 877-ID-THEFT, and you're going to report that your identity has been stolen. And the last thing you're going to do is you're going to go to these credit reporting agencies, whether it's Equifax or TransUnion or any of the ones out there, and you're going to put a fraud alert on your credit report. And this is so that everyone can know that you're in a bind. And the last thing you're going to do, maybe not the last thing, you are going to notify local law enforcement that this is going on. Because local law enforcement, they're your best friends here. They're going to help you get through this from the point of view of filing a police report, having a paper trail showing that you're not responsible for these debts. Now, they can't say you're not responsible for the debts, but they're the ones that start the process.